Hi everyone, Lisette here with the remote news. Today we're going to give you tips for how to get meetings out of your calendar. A lot of us are having trouble with meeting overload. And especially with remote meetings, it's so easy to add a meeting to the calendar, right? And you just click a button and you're there. However, it is overload and it's not really healthy to have so many meetings online. So I'm going to give you these techniques, starting with the first one, which is meeting-free days. This is the most common technique that I see people using. It's just to agree as a team that on Wednesdays or Fridays or whatever day, you're going to have meeting-free days. Now, benefits and downsides to that. One of the downsides is that you are not really fixing the inherent problem of having too many meetings to begin with, but it is a good quick fix. The other is I've seen a lot of managers scheduling events on those days because they know that everybody has availability. So meeting-free days is a good technique to try if you haven't tried it already. The next one is one of the more creative ones that I've seen, and it's an energy calendar. So this person would color code their meetings throughout the week. Green for it gave them energy, red it took energy away, and yellow, moi, could go either way. And then at the end of the week, they did something about all of the red meetings. So that was a great way to just really attribute which ones you're having challenges with. The next one is to audit or rate your meetings at the end. A very confronting activity, I have to admit myself. It is something you have to really get the courage to do. But a really quick way of gauging was the meeting good or not is just to use the fist of five and asking people, rate with your hand, how useful was this meeting? One, not useful at all, to five, it was great. That's a good way to check what everybody thought about the meeting. There's lots of tools that you can do that with, also apps, all kinds of things, but just doing a quick rating check at the end could give you a lot of insight into how to improve. The next way for getting rid of meetings is to record your meetings. Not everybody has to be at every meeting, and sometimes just watching the recording is good enough. You just need to know the gist of what happened or how the decision was made. What was the conversation like, right? You don't actually have to be a part of that meeting. So if that applies, or sometimes time zones, for example, that could be a reason for recording your meetings. So just consider that. Now, when we record meetings, we also start to get into an information architecture problem, right? You want to make sure that the meetings are stored in a place where people can find them, they're easily accessible and named well. And of course, there are privacy concerns. So just make sure that those discussions happen before you start recording meetings. The next technique is to convince people to join your meeting. Turn the meeting on its head. Instead of just inviting everybody that you think, actually convince people that they need to come. I got this tip from Jürgen Appelo when I worked together with him at Management 3.0. He had a no meeting policy. And so if you wanted to schedule a meeting, you had to convince the others to join. A very effective technique for making sure that just the right people are there. The next tip is a meeting rotation. I got this from NASA, actually. They emailed in to give me this tip. They said that they have some very large meetings where the entire department doesn't have to, or they're departmental meetings, for example, and not everybody from the team has to go there. So what they do is they actually draw straws. And the person that draws the shortest straw has to attend the meeting and summarize it for everybody else. So that's sort of a meeting rotation technique that they use to make sure that they make more efficient use of all the time. The next technique is called agenda buildup. Now, this is a technique for recurring meetings. So for example, if your team meets every Monday or every Tuesday, you can use the agenda buildup technique where you actually use an agenda and you put all of the things that you'd like to discuss in the meeting on that agenda, but you don't have the meeting until the agenda gets to a certain stage. So maybe you have 5 things that you need to talk about, or now something big's come up, and then you schedule the meeting. So that keeps things useful and not recurring for the sake of recurring. The next technique is, instead of having meetings, think about having virtual co-working sessions instead. Now, these are just sessions where you are working together online, just like you would work side by side at desks with each other, except that you're working on your own thing. So, for instance, you might have the video on and the sound off, and everybody's just working. And if somebody needs somebody else, you unmute yourself and start talking. So, there are many kinds of tools that enable this kind of working. Welo is my personal favorite tool, and I offer virtual co-working sessions in Butter. So give one of those tools a try, see if that reduces the number of meetings. It might really just enhance the serendipity that your team has together. All right, the last one that I want to talk about is office hours. So instead of having a recurring meeting every week, maybe you want to make yourself available to your team and say, every morning from 9 to 10, I have office hours. You can just show up. If you need something, I'm there. Or maybe it's once a week, right? That whenever it is up to you. But instead of having recurring meetings, maybe turn it around and make yourself available in office hours. So those are various techniques that you can do to reduce the number of meetings that you're having every week. If you've got something to add to the list, I would love to hear from you. Just email us at info@collaborationsuperpowers.com. Until next time, everybody, see you online. So if you're interested in learning more or diving deeper, I really encourage you to join one of our live interactive trainings. You can find those in all time zones all over the world. We've got licensed facilitators who are there who professionally train these workshops. You can also join one of our free events. We host virtual co-working often, and we're also hosting the Facilitators Playground, where you can come and learn new techniques for online facilitation. All right, everybody, I'll see you online.